Sometimes the things you book don't always book you back. Welcome to Book of Wrestling Podcast for the fans, by the fans. We book, rebook, and revisit your favorite wrestling storylines. I'm here. I'm your commissioner, Lil X Fudge, and today I'm here with your GMs, Damone D Money,
Mario,
and Hi-Fi Mike.
Party on, Garth.
So, I gotta tell you guys something. Y'all know I fuck with Nic Nemeth, right? I really fuck with Nic Nemeth.
No, I didn't know.
No.
I was not aware.
I love
you
Nic
talk
Nemeth.
about him constantly.
If you're watching today, I got my Nic Nemeth belt with Nic Nemeth's signature.
I thought that was Ryan Nemeth.
I got my Nic Nemeth locket with 2 pictures of his face.
Being a Ryan Nemeth fan,
Ryan Nemeth is fucking gross.
I got my Nic Nemeth sweater. I got my Nic Nemeth shirt.
I meant to
You don't have to show us your Nic Nemeth.
I got my Nic Nemeth tank top.
I was going to say, you don't have to show us your Nic Nemeth underwear.
Sir, it is summer. Why are you wearing that many shirts?
And over there, I got my Nic Nemeth Lego set. Nobody's ever going to tell me that I don't love Nic Nemeth.
You have a Nic Nemeth tattoo.
My Lord and Savior. My father.
Yeah.
And we're going to respect Ryan Nemeth while we at it.
No, we're not. I'll give you Nick. I like Dolph, Nick, whatever you want to call him. I'm not giving you Ryan.
Ryan Nemeth has emerged into a top comedic act in our business, and we're going to respect him too.
No, we're not. He's awful to watch.
If his last name was Smith, you would not care about him.
No, he's pretty funny. Well, we're not going to do that to him. He's a bright spot in TNA every week. He's hilarious.
That's not saying much right now.
No.
TNA
hey, we're not going to disparage TNA. Nice. TNA's been doing great lately. You know what? They're firing on all cylinders.
Hey, you know what the common denominator is? The 2 weeks of good television is the 2 weeks Nic Nemeth's been champion. Let the Fed
no. Hold on. Let's not act like there wasn't weeks prior to Slammiversary that was good.
There were some.
We're not going to.
There was a lot of bad ones.
TNA here. That's not what we do.
The issue with TNA is they're very inconsistent.
They just fired Dreamer,
and then other times it's like this might be as bad as NWA.
Yeah, it's because they can't keep any writers on. And then they have such a small roster that
the problem is that they did keep one writer on. They kept Tommy Dreamer on.
They kept the wrong writer on.
It is funny to hear people be like, "Fuck Tommy Dreamer," which I agree. But fuck Tommy Dreamer, bring us and be okay with Road Dogg, who just got fired, and people have said SmackDown's bad because of Road Dogg.
I
like Road Dogg would be a bad addition, but I do like the job that Delirious is doing. But tonight isn't about TNA because though TNA is having a good moment right now, you're right. They are inconsistent. They have their issues. But you know what company is doing rather well? AEW. They're having a great summer. They have All In coming up. We're going to have Ospreay Omega. And just imagine with me for a second a world where instead of being the TNA champion as it sits right now, Nic Nemeth left the WWE to go to AEW and be champion. Just imagine.
Wait. The scenario isn't if he left and became champion, right? It's if he left and went to AEW. There's no guarantee.
There's no
guarantee.
You know where he's going, Mike. I got the pin. You know damn well where this is going.
He's mid-card.
There ain't no way he's not touching gold. You know damn well.
Hold on.
Now shut your mouth.
2019
Dolph booking team handle this.
2019
Dolph and the Death Riders is crazy.
We're talking about Dolph Ziggler. They're like, yeah, you can, I don't know, face Goldberg and get your ass kicked.
To be fair,
then he
Vince
leaves.
Was fried in 2019.
I mean,
yeah,
Vince has
really
been fried since the
2019 WWE.
Yeah, 2019 WWE was.
They had important dog food on Roman Reigns too.
It was terrible.
Fried. But
they had a Hell in a Cell and a DQ when you're defending their booking logic.
I can't say that he would go automatically become a champion. Let's slow our roll. We're not booking 3 years.
12 belts. He's winning one of them.
We got like 6 months tops. Let's go.
And I know exactly what I'm doing here, and I know where my timeline sits. So Mike, fire up that document, and I'll kind of fill in some of the details. I've done some research today. Travis has assisted me. Travis
What
gave
episode
me.
John decides to do research?
Dolph loses against Goldberg, has to hide his face from embarrassment, and then goes to AEW.
I would be embarrassed to have even worked Goldberg.
I mean,
you watch years of content in WCW.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. As a performer, it would be fantastic to have a match with Goldberg.
Because it's a 1 minute.
As a viewer, it is awful. Period.
Yeah. No, Dolph probably got paid like a cool $10,000 to do 90 seconds of action.
And he got to be in the ring with Goldberg.
I mean, who cares about that? But he got
he's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer. So it's just watching it is not. That's not.
There's
fun.
bums in the Hall of Fame. Just because he's booked strong doesn't mean anything to me. I think Goldberg's a blight on the business.
In the Hall of Fame, so
he's not good. I'm not going to argue that with you that Goldberg's good.
Now,
Goldberg's a fucking bum.
I'm not gonna lie. Great Khali should not be in the Hall.
No.
That's the Bella twins. Nikki, maybe.
No, I think the Bella twins
absolutely not.
No, I think that they absolutely deserve to be. I don't think they deserve to be now. We should have waited.
Well, everyone thought they were retired. Same with Ray. There should be no one who's a current
I think you should not be allowed to come back. If you're in the Hall of Fame,
you shouldn't be wrestling still.
You're not allowed to have a contract outside of one-off.
But back to the key point.
Dolph is a future Hall of Famer if he ever
Travis,
comes back.
What he has contributed to this episode is that Dolph's contract that he ended up extending ended following the infamous SummerSlam 2019 match with Goldberg.
Yeah, I was right. He's going to lose against Goldberg.
So here's what happened. He had one more night on his contract following this, and I do remember what happened pretty vividly. So he got squashed by Goldberg in a rehash feud with The Miz, where The Miz was a babyface and he was a heel. And then the next night he wrestled The Miz in street clothes and got squashed.
Oh yeah, it was a Monday night match, right?
Yes.
I just watched
it. It's kind of done like a comedic thing, but also like he did seem like he was about to leave. So where we're fantasy booking is that that's actually the end. And in a weird way, it's kind of fitting that he puts over Miz of all people on the way out. He takes some garbage he was handed. He makes it as fun as it can possibly be. Because the Goldberg thing, while terrible wrestling, he at least made it pretty funny.
That whole him getting speared over and over again is hilarious.
And then he goes and he has kind of like a delusional breakdown. He calls out The Miz. He wrestles Miz in an Asuka cut off in jeans and gets squashed. I think he gets like tapped out by like a figure four or something. And then in our fantasy world, he's out. And he is going to be headed to the upstart company, AEW. So where my research came in today is I watched year in review videos. I forget the channel or I'd shout them out. Of 2019 and 2020 AEW to kind of get a feel of where his entrance can fit into the scheme of the company at the time. Particularly like in like the
AEW around at that point. Sorry.
It just started. The Double or Nothing had happened because it's in August. Middle of August, he leaves for SummerSlam. They had Double or Nothing to start the company in May. Jericho is pretty firmly champion. Moxley should be getting it soonish, but they have this weird triangle feud going between Moxley, Omega, and Jericho. But Moxley's having injuries all the time, so it's making it harder to push the storyline forward. The soonest night in terms of like a meaningful pay-per-view that he could debut is All Out 2019. And I have a slot, a thought and a slot about where his debut would make some sense and how we can work it into some storylines. So that night, it was supposed to have Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega have their match, right? But Moxley got hurt again. So Moxley ended up having a singles match with Pac. That Pac actually won, weird enough. Kenny Omega was allergic to winning when the company first started.
Wait, who got injured? You said Mox got injured.
He meant that
Omega got injured?
Omega, okay. No. Moxley got injured. Kenny Omega is the one who had the match with Pac.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that night's middle of the card that Kenny Omega should instead face Nic Nemeth debuting.
Should it be like a mystery opponent? This is heel Omega too, right?
Actually, is this heel Omega or is this babyface Omega? I think this is still a babyface because I don't think he turns heel till later on. Let me double check.
You're probably right. He probably doesn't. I don't think he turns heel.
Well, I think we should have Ziggler's. I think we should make him.
I think they had Moxley come in as like the tweener, right? Where like Jericho was the heel, and they were both trying to get their hands on Jericho. And Moxley was just like the tweener that kept beating the shit out of both of them. And Kenny eventually turned to like win the title when he got with Don Callis. Around when the TNA thing happened at the end of 2020. I think at the end of 2019 into 2020.
Because at the end of this one, it's Jericho versus Hangman.
Yeah, where Jericho wins the title.
Yeah.
And then Moxley's Moxley's already debuted. He's just injured here. That's right. Okay. Because it was Jericho beat Omega, and that's when Moxley beat up both of them. So yeah, I think he faces Kenny Omega as the mystery opponent. And I think that similarly, Omega does lose here.
Yeah, you can't have Nick at this point. You can't have him debut and immediately lose. So Nick debuts and Omega loses. Are we doing babyface Omega or not Omega?
Are we changing his name from Ziggler to Nemeth?
Yeah. He does not own the name Dolph Ziggler. He has to go by Nic Nemeth.
Yeah, I was going to say, he definitely doesn't own the name Dolph.
Especially
to AEW. They're not letting him keep that shit.
Well, you know what? It's our universe. We can do whatever the fuck we want. We could say that he bought the name.
Without a K.
I'm just saying. I don't care. It's not my fault he spelled
his
it wrong.
Name.
I met Nic Nemeth. He laughed at a joke we said.
So Omega's gonna lose to him. He's I think this is going to insert him into a weird spot with this feud, because I'm going to say as the next week on Dynamite, he's having his opening promo, and Jon Moxley comes out, and kind of talks trash to him. We're gonna have Moxley kind of lean heel here a little bit, because Moxley was kind of bouncing back and forth at the time.
So Nick gives like a speech about being happy to be in AEW, or being able to show he's one of the best wrestlers alive, and then Moxley comes out and pretty much shits on him.
Yeah, and we could say Moxley could bring up beating him when it counted most, like at SummerSlam 2016. Not specifically, because I've already beaten you before. You couldn't handle the bright lights, and there's no way you're going to take my spot. Something like that.
And then keep Moxley healthy.
You said what?
We just got to keep Moxley healthy.
Yeah. And then maybe we got to slot Kenny Omega in here, because I'm going to basically make this a 3-way feud. So I think Omega should come out and join the promo as well. And maybe he kind of gets in Moxley's face, and Moxley tries to hit Omega with the microphone.
Then he gets he ducks under and gets super kicked.
And then he hits Nick with the microphone.
Oh, you want him to hit?
So
Yeah,
no,
makes sense, yeah.
well, not Omega attacks Moxley. I was about to say,
Moxley tries to attack
Omega, and then Omega ducks, and Moxley hits Nick.
And then like Moxley gets out of the ring or slides out of the ring.
Yeah.
And then maybe does the like I'm too smart.
Yeah.
And now you're building to a triple feud between the three of them, which I'm assuming is probably going to pay
up. I think I'm going to take this to Full Gear. But so let me double check that. Yeah, because Full Gear is where Omega and Moxley had their match while Jericho's dealing with the Cody stuff.
right, because this is where Cody loses the ability to challenge.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Which I don't know if we should even mess with. There's part of me that wants to undo that, but honestly, I think
we can leave it, especially because theoretically, because it's not his story anyway, pun intended. Cody still goes to back to WWE, so him not having the ability to challenge for the AEW title means nothing because he's not there.
Yeah. So I say that throughout the next few weeks, they keep cutting promos on one another. I got to find a way
Maybe
to get.
They have a six-man tag, like those three versus I don't fucking know who was a faction back then. I almost said Jurassic Express, but that wouldn't even make sense.
No, they had Marco Stunt back then.
No, I know, but I'm saying like then it's.
We could do the Dark Order.
Yeah, the Dark Order works.
Because this is like pre-Brody Dark Order.
Right, it's when they're still like revealing who the higher.
Because basically at this point we got to build some tension between Nick and Kenny as well.
Right.
Maybe Nick's going for a super kick during that match. Ryan Nemeth. Ryan Nemeth goes into business as a stockbroker instead of wrestling.
He's not very good at that either.
We respected Ryan Nemeth, but he goes bankrupt. So I'd say during the 6-man tag that Nick's going for a super kick on, let's say, Evil Uno, and Uno ducks and he hits Kenny.
Yeah. And then you can have another point. It doesn't necessarily need to be in this match, but at some point, what's his name? Omega's going for like a V trigger on Mox, and he accidentally takes out Nick.
Yeah. And then when they get into it, Moxley just walks away.
Yeah. Okay. And then obviously there should be a point where like Moxley, one of these weeks, we're being very open-ended with the weeks and everything, but there should be one of the weeks where Moxley gets the upper hand and like hits the Death Rider or whatever the hell he calls it.
He was just doing the paradigm shift at the time.
Yeah, the paradigm shift. I couldn't remember what the name of it was called.
Yeah. So basically they're having like misunderstandings and to the point where they're all having problems with one another. Mox and Omega already hated each other. And now Nemeth is having problems with both of them. And we'll say that sorry, I'm trying to think about how to pivot this to the pay-per-view.
So maybe like they have a brawl between all three of them, and then it gets announced that there's going to be a triple threat at Full Gear, you said, right?
Yeah. And we could make that number one contender to see who's going at Jericho.
But are we going to speed run? I feel like if we do it, we don't have Nick win. if we do it as the number one contender.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's not the one who eats the pin. He's also not the one who gets the win.
Yeah. Because I think if Nick should win it from anybody, it should be either like after Omega's heel run or Moxley's first run. Though after winning it from Moxley would kind of be sending a weird message with having like first 3 champs all WWE fresh off.
I can't remember who the first 3 were. Obviously, it was Jericho.
It was Jericho, Moxley, Omega.
Okay.
So I was thinking Nick.
It's 2 out of 3 instead of 3 out of 3.
Well, I'm saying if Nick were to win it from Moxley in our fantasy booking, which I think he should either win it off Moxley or Omega.
Well, are we there yet?
Or we could go. He can go to the TNT title and feud with Brody at some point and run that back.
Well,
we have options.
This triple threat.
This triple threat. Are we going to make it number one contender?
Yeah, or just let it make it number one contender because they're all because like I also peppered in here maybe backstage segments that involve like Jericho or whatever, like where it's hinted towards him, or like even Jericho could be like, it doesn't after I defend the title, I'm gonna beat whoever wins the triple threat anyway.
And if it's number one contender, then yeah, we're gonna have Moxley pin Kenny. Nick's not gonna win this one yet. And then we'll proceed into Full Gear with well, this is at Full Gear, excuse me.
That way Moxley doesn't automatically immediately become the number one contender, but he also doesn't have to eat a pin. He's not eating a pin in like his first announced title, or not title, but his first announced match where he's not the mystery opponent.
Yeah. And then we're building towards Revolution next. And that is the night that Moxley ends up winning the title off Jericho. And Kenny kind of goes off into the distance with like the Hangman story with the Bucks to get with the tag titles. So have they debuted the TNT title yet? I'm not sure if they have.
We can say they did.
No, I think that's coming next pay-per-view. So Cody's doing his feud with MJF. Pac and Orange Cassidy have a side quest going. Moxley beats Jericho.
You said it was Revolution, right?
Revolution 2019. Man, there's a lot of filler on this card. Like Jake Hager, Dustin Rhodes, gross. 5 minutes.
That's the thing with AEW. They gonna have a lot of matches. Like
this one only had 9.
That's low for AEW.
I know.
It's probably because the roster wasn't as big. Well, and 7 of them were pre-show. It looks like.
Yeah, so it's a pretty short show.
Two of them were pre-show.
1 second. I think after he loses at Full Gear, we set up a singles match with him. But I need to find. Let me go to the SmackDown hotel and find him
to see who he could feud with.
Proper opponent.
That's still like a big. Yeah, someone that's still a big name, but so he doesn't fall in completely off the card.
Yeah. No, he needs to stay relevant, but we're gonna slow burn it here. So we're going 2019, and this is in November because it's Full Gear. In fact, this is February 29th. It was on the leap year day. Okay, looking at the roster.
Like the issue is like there are guys who like now it would be a big deal, but at the time it was not.
Yeah. He could do Kip Sabian.
No, we said we wanted him to be relevant.
Well, I mean, if he's winning a pay-per-view match, and Kip Sabian was getting way more TV time back then. He could
have someone from like either the like. Trying to think of who in the Dark Order besides.
You could have.
Brody.
Oh yeah. You can have Joey Janela was getting a lot of TV time at the time too.
Yuck.
I know.
No, we're okay with not giving him money. He fucked himself over.
Man, their roster was weak at first. That's such
Janela,
a long shot from that.
True, Joey Janela.
So for this pay-per-view, maybe he has a one-off feud with we'll say Scorpio Sky. He's the one of SCU who's not defending the belts. They were having Kaz and actually no, it was Kaz and Sky who were defending. So he could face Christopher Daniels. There we go.
That's a nice little mini feud. Side quest.
Yeah, he goes on a side quest with Christopher Daniels. They have a singles match. I'd say about 15 minutes at Revolution, excuse me. Nick wins that.
Also, I still hate that he calls it the Danger Zone.
I love the Danger Zone. And it's protected.
I like the move. I just don't like the name.
Granted, Nic Knack was a missed opportunity.
Yes, I agree. Nic Knack would have been fire.
From the zigzag to the Nic Knack would have that wrote itself. So I'll say Moxley wins the title that night. That maintains. He beats Jericho. And then do we want to set up a feud between them right away or tease at it, or do we want to let that breathe?
I think we'd be good to do it.
It's the next pay-per-view.
The next pay-per-view will be Double or Nothing. So it's gonna be a cool because the pandemic's about to happen.
Oh yeah, let's get it in before the pandemic.
I don't think we need to get it in before the pandemic.
I think we need to get in before the pandemic.
Well, that way he can win the title. Well, that way he can win the title with a crowd.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Let's do it before the pandemic.
But there's no pay-per-view before the pandemic. It's this, and then there's not one.
Well, good thing it's fantasy booking.
Yeah, let's make a pay-per-view.
What month would we be?
Let's call it pre-pandemic pay-per-view.
This is going from November to May without a pay-per-view.
That's insane. Yeah, we can't do that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
What pay-per-view happens? Hold on, I'm gonna look up what pay-per-view happens in so we're in November right now, right? Revolution's in November.
Normally it'd be World's End in December because they do basically monthly now. World's End.
Yep, World's End. There we go.
That's really.
We can do World's End, and then what's in January? Is January
wild?
Is right before the pandemic.
It's wild that we decided just not to fantasy book there not being a pandemic.
Well,
we're neglecting key details. We're making this so unchronological. I had a plan. I don't think we should.
Wait, are you sure?
I don't think we should rush this in before the pandemic, honestly.
Wait, hold on. Are you sure Revolution?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking Full Gear. Sorry, I'm goofy. Revolution was.
Wait. So what? So the
no, I'm sorry.
So
I messed up there.
He faces.
Revolution's in February. I was thinking Full Gear. So
okay, at Full Gear he faces, Christopher Daniels, right?
Full Gear, Full Gear.
Full Gear was the triple threat.
When he did the triple threat,
and then. So if we did Revolution, that would put us in February.
So right before the pandemic.
So yeah, we're like. 1 second. Let me get an updated roster because that could change Revolution a little bit because I goofed on my dates on SmackDown Hotel. Revolution's February. Full Gear already happened. We already did Full Gear. So we're in February of 2020. We're approaching the pandemic, like pretty close. It's February 28th.
Yeah, because this is the last pay-per-view.
I mean, it's already
before
there.
the pandemic.
Yeah. And I think we have a much better roster at this point. I'm double checking. Or at least a slightly better roster. We have Lance Archer now. That helps a little. That's an option. We have Taz. I think we have Brian Cage. Wardlow. Or at least Brian Cage is coming if he's not there yet. So I think we maintain the match we have. We do the Christopher Daniels match, and he wins it. And we're not going to be able to get him the title before the pandemic. We have to book through it and proceed on. Yeah, he wins a kind of filler feud with Christopher Daniels. Moxley's the champion. COVID happens. And I'm trying to remember where Moxley's next feud went at Double or Nothing. I think he ended up feuding with Brody Lee as the Elite feuded with, the Matt Hardy stuff. MJF did Jungle Boy. Cody did Lance Archer. Brian Cage debuted in the Casino Ladder match. Oh, duh. This writes itself. Instead of Brian Cage winning the Casino Ladder match, because they did fucking nothing with that, Nick can win the Casino Ladder match at Double or Nothing. And then we can say,
remember Brian Cage winning it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They didn't do anything with it because he came with Taz. They had the FTW belt. And then, yeah, I think he lost on a weekly show. Which, to be fair, they didn't have another pay-per-view from May till September. That's the issue. Did they even have like Fighter Fest and stuff?
Yeah, they did. They had Fighter.
They have those.
They had Fighter Fest in July.
Shows.
Then they had Fight for the Fallen the next week, and then August was a women's tournament or tag.
So Fighter Fest 2020 was.
So there's a lot of gaps.
July. That's when Cage and Moxley happened, and then Fight for the Fallen was. Let's find the 2020 Fight for the Fallen. That one was, literally the next week. You're right. Both at Daly's place. So,
I don't even think he had the title shot at this pay-per-view.
Here's how I would do it. To kind of make this kind of mean a little bit more, instead of just going to like a filler feud. We could have, after Nick wins the Casino Gauntlet, Brian Cage can debut and attack him. And then, then they'd kind of bury the shit out of Brian Cage because then they'd have to feud and one of them would have to lose. I
know the Death Riders weren't. Well, when did
Blackpool wasn't even a thing yet.
I was gonna say, did did Claudio come over? Or was he hanging with Nick or not Nick with Mox? I don't think he was even over in AEW yet.
He wasn't.
I think he's still in WWE.
Because we could just, go to Fighter Fest as Brian Cage, proceeded, and yay, he wins the title. Where does he go from there? I feel like that's a little anticlimactic. I feel like he should win it at like All Out or something.
Because the Casino Ladder match, was it like Money in the Bank?
For a future shot, yeah.
So, yeah, we could have Nick feud with he could have a filler feud with, or He can feud with Jericho because now Jericho lost the title.
Yeah.
So you can do a feud between Jericho and Nick. Like Jericho could demand he hand over his title shot to him, and he refused.
Yeah, I like that where he has to feud with the Inner Circle, go through each member. Like he has to beat Santana. Foreshadowing. He has to beat Ortiz, Hager, all of them. Sammy. That'd actually be a good match. And then he would face Jericho. So maybe he faces Jericho at Fyter Fest.
Yeah, and it's for the briefcase. Winner gets the briefcase.
Yeah.
And obviously he wins and retains the briefcase.
Yeah. And then at Fight for the Fallen, who was it that I wanted to? Let me get the right date. So now we're going into July of 2020. Yeah, the depth is improving some. We got FTR at this point.
This is a random ass match. Cody versus Sonny Kiss for the AEW title.
I saw that when I was watching today.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah, this only had 5 matches. So,
there we go.
It was Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage for the title here.
And that's what I'm saying is I didn't want to have him win then because it A makes Moxley's first reign too short, and B it's very anticlimactic. So I think that he beats Jericho, and then maybe he feuds with.
I was gonna say you could probably extend the Jericho feud one more month. He wins the match, but then he's gonna ready to cash in or whatever on Moxley, who's still champion. But then the Jericho, were they Appreciation Society or no? They were.
No, that was a while later.
They're still Inner Circle. Yeah, so maybe the Inner Circle attacks him still because Jericho still thinks he's better. And do you extend the feud and maybe the next pay-per-view they have a cage match so the Inner Circle's kept out of the ring?
I was also thinking that he could after he beats Jericho at Fyter Fest, he could start having a feud with the Team Taz at Fight for the Fallen because Cage will have had time to rack up wins, so losing wouldn't be so bad here.
Yeah,
and then he can beat face Brian Cage, face Ricky Starks, kind of get those matches in.
Yeah, he faces those goons. I'm fine with that. Yeah, he faces not Jericho Appreciation. He faces Team Taz, runs through them, beats Cage at what pay-per-view are we at or show are we at now?
That's gonna be at he beats Cage at Fight for what Mike you missed is that he's feuds with Jericho into Fyter Fest, puts the casino chip on the line, and he retains it. And then he feuds with Team Taz, facing and defeating Ricky Starks at one point. I'd say Ricky Starks at Fight for the Fallen, Brian Cage on Dynamite.
I feel like you do. I feel like you have to do. I feel like you have to do the Brian Cage one at the pay-per-view, the Ricky Starks on the weekly.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you could do Brian Cage at Fight for the Fallen, and then Ricky Starks on the weekly. Kind of get both of those guys some shine. And then we kind of approach All Out 2020.
So this is where you have him win the title.
Yeah, because at this point, Moxley's feuds with MJF, which I don't think was good for him.
For Moxley or MJF?
It wasn't good for MJF. I mean, he
yeah.
got a world title shot, but he
lost.
Lost.
But this is still kind of baby MJF.
Yeah, like he lost while Moxley was banned from his finisher, though.
True.
But it is baby MJF. But I have different plans for baby MJF coming soon. So we'll say, yeah, Nick announces his cash in on Moxley at All Out 2020. They kind of revisit their past feuds, both in AEW and in WWE. Moxley, says that Nic Nemeth is not a top guy. He doesn't see it.
He's never beaten him one-on-one. Whenever the chips are down, you fall apart. You
fold. Yeah, the chips are down, you fold, kind of thing. And then Mox works heel, but Nick ends up winning the match. And then we'll kind of go into like a couple defenses, and he's eventually going to be the one that drops to heel Omega. And I think that can be where we push this episode, just through his first world title reign, or his only. Who knows? It's AEW. They don't have that many champions. So it's going to be a little bit till they have a pay-per-view. But they will have Winter is Coming down the line. And that is where in canon, Omega beat Moxley. This was from September to December.
So we're back at Full Gear, right? So
Full Gear would be before that.
Yeah, so he wins the title at All Out. Then there's Full Gear, and there's not another pay-per-view until Revolution.
But there is Winter is Coming.
Well, yeah, I guess, technically.
So why don't we do here? Because Moxley can still feud with Eddie Kingston without the title. And MJF's doing like the weird trying to join the Inner Circle stuff. We could have maybe MJF is tasked by, Jericho or something, that if he can beat Nic Nemeth for the title, he can join the Inner Circle.
Yeah, he has to beat Nic Nemeth, and then after he beats Nick, he'll lay down for Jericho, and then he can join the Inner Circle.
And then, so baby MJF will lose to Nick at Full Gear. And we'll say he had a few like weekly show defenses between then. But he's still gonna have a pretty short reign, like 3-4 months. So maybe we can get some weekly show matches in. I'll try to name a few of those notable defenses. And then we'll get to Winter is Coming, where I think we'll keep the timeline intact and have heel Omega do his thing from there. So some of his we'll do like mid-September. Actually, we'll just go to like October 1st, 2020. See where the roster's at. We could say Nick also defends against Brody Lee, like title versus title. We can say he will defend. He can't defend against Cody, lol. Man, their 2021 was so big for their roster. We could say he defended against Lance Archer.
He can have a defense against Hangman.
Pac.
Dustin.
I don't think Dustin needs a world title shot. I do think that before he faces MJF, he puts it up. Jericho tries to get Sammy to do it first. So then he defends against Sammy Guevara.
And then you have Jericho face him one more time and Jericho loses again.
Yeah. Like he's kind of doing the Darby Allin kind of run where he's defending it all the time. You know, maybe he faces Miro, maybe he faces this person, that person. I didn't know John Schuyler was working for AEW at the time. Was Jason Hotch with him? Nope. Who was John Schuyler with?
How was John Schuyler?
He's the guy in the Great Hands with Jason Hotch.
Oh.
I didn't know he worked for AEW. And then, he beats MJF at Full Gear. And then we'll say that heel Omega attacks him after that.
You already wrote that, Mike, by the way. Like 2 sentences up.
Yay!
Ugh, I just remember this is when they had Frankie Kazarian turn babyface and start doing that Elite Hunter gimmick. That was ass.
I don't remember that at all. Honestly, I think I blacked out all of 2020 AEW. And a lot of WWE besides the Bloodline.
I don't know. I have a soft spot for WrestleMania 36. But then we'll say that it builds up to Winter is Coming, where Nick would eventually drop to a heel Kenny Omega, and Kenny would go on to have his belt collector run.
Yeah, like before this, Omega aligns himself with Don Callis, and then he cheats to win the title off of Nick.
Yeah,
and then they have probably have a blow off feud, not blow off, but they have a rematch, and Nick still loses.
Yeah, we'll say that they're gonna have a holiday bash, not like later in the month, and we'll say that they have a rematch at Holiday Bash, and
Don Callis in the shark cage.
Don Callis in the shark cage. Trying to look for they get Top Flight at this point. Butcher Blade the Bunny.
What are you trying to look for? This is where we're stopping.
Casey Navarro worked there I'm looking at January 2021, so I could see as like an epilogue what he would do following losing the belt twice to Kenny.
He can just start feuding over the TNT. Is this a TNT? TNT's the men, right? I always mix the two up.
And then Brody would have died, and I think Cody was holding the TNT at that point.
Either Cody
no, Darby was.
Or is it Darby?
Darby was.
Yeah. So he goes into a feud with Darby.
Yeah, maybe he
beats him.
Maybe he turns heel. I don't know. But we could say he pursues the TNT title. Maybe has some matches with the likes of Orange Cassidy, Miro, Jungle Boy. Hobbs is there at this point.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe's not there yet. He's still doing commentary in WWE at this point.
Well, later on. But
yeah,
I was just listing people in the future. But we at least got booked from his debut. And then pretty much a year's worth to him winning the title at All Out.
Yeah.
The biggest pay-per-view of the year.
To summarize, before we wrap up tonight, we had Nick debuting in the place of Jon Moxley at am I forgetting the pay-per-view name? At All Out 2019, when Moxley was too injured and Pac stepped into his match with Kenny Omega, and Nick beats Kenny Omega, putting himself into the Omega Moxley feud. They have a number one contenders triple threat. Moxley pins Omega because Omega was putting everybody over as a babyface. Nick then proceeded to have feuds on the side with the SCU, particularly Christopher Daniels, until he was able to get himself back in the title picture by winning the Casino ladder match while Moxley won the title. he had to get through the Inner Circle and Team Taz to hold on to his casino chip until he was able to announce his cash-in for All Out the following year, where he would defeat Jon Moxley as the babyface in the feud. Moxley worked heel. He would have his first feud be with MJF doing the bidding of the Inner Circle, who's still lingering after him. He would then beat MJF at Full Gear. He would have weekly show defenses as an active babyface champion with the likes of Brody Lee, Lance Archer, Hangman, Pac, Sammy Guevara, Jericho again. And then at Winter is Coming, the timeline would kind of restore itself with Kenny Omega winning as a heel with with Don Callis. Nick would lose a rematch at the Holiday Bash. He would then defeat Darby later on for the TNT title and proceed to work the mid card. And whether he made his way back up, worked the tag division, or did some blood feuds, especially as their roster improved with the later additions of Adam Cole, CM Punk, Danielson, Samoa Joe, and the growth of many talents. I understand why I wasn't as much into AEW in 2020, and I think this would have helped a lot. So, any other conclusions y'all have?
It was AEW was very top heavy at the time.
Yeah. Women's and men's divisions were like that, because Britt Baker was doing her best work at the time, and you had a couple of viable contenders, but it was pretty rough until I'm looking at when in 2021 things start going. You start to get the Acclaimed in the middle of this year. I'm looking at May right now. What else do we get?
Top the time it was still just a super indie, and then they started to give people from WWE or the guys like the MJF started to grow into their own.
Miro ended up winning it, so Nick could have feuded with Miro later on because he ended up having his big TNT title run. But yeah, the roster's going to keep growing, and AEW is going to hit its stride as a company that's going to grow together that fall. And from there, we'd see what happens. But yeah, as I looked back, I was like, AEW was cool, but I understand why I leaned WWE at that time. And then later became more of an AEW fan as they, deepened their roster and bettered their product. So there we have it. Nic Nemeth
having to have Joey Janela feuds.
Yeah, we're not giving real TV time to Joey Janela anymore. That's the sign of growth. But that's kind of how we see Nic Nemeth run going in AEW. We do see him as a world title contender, especially in 2019 when they're trying to build him as a star rather than TNA, which they have built him as a star in TNA, but he's not as old, so he's got more prime years left. But let's wrap this sucker up. Hi-Fi Mike, can we find you anywhere outside of here?
No, you can follow the book at on whatever Twitter,
Twitter, Scott, or Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky,
and I post my Thursday night Impact reviews after Thursday.
So he's watching real life Nic Nemeth as champion. D Money, what about you?
You can find me on all the bullshit, even the shit owned by a human herpes known as Elon Musk, at D Money Book It. So D Money spelled out, Book It. And I do NXT reviews. Either it's usually right after NXT, or depending on spacing between me and Travis doing Raw, it'll be on Wednesday. So either Tuesday or Wednesdays, you'll get the best wrestling show that's been the best wrestling show for the last 3 years running, NXT reviews.
And lastly, you can go to the most important place of all, and that is T1, spelled the word 3media.com. And you'll get merchandise of all your favorite cast members, your favorite shows. Kenny has quite a few most of the time. And you can get that in the form of t-shirts, baby clothes, mugs, maybe a diaper. Who knows? Check it out. Find out for yourself. And also, you can check our Book It social media.
I don't think we sell diapers.
We might. Go check it out. Find out. Don't spoil it. You can go see Hi-Fi Mike's review of TNA. You can go see my reviews of AEW. You can go see reviews of things like Raw and SmackDown and NXT and even random shows. I think there was NWA.
MLW. Yeah, NW. Well, yeah,
MLW.
Kenny does NWA. Travis
He
did
likes to torture
MLW,
himself.
and like AAA, we've been doing too. So we're pretty much hitting all the wrestling.
We're watching wrestling. And with that said, that's been an episode of Book It. See ya.
Bye.